This is a strange occurrence I was involved in about 9 years ago. I used to work in remote Cape York community in far north Queensland. We stayed on site week on, week off, and we had a couple of duplexes built for staff to stay in. I stayed on one side with another older female, I'll call her Kate, and on the other side were two men who worked with us, who happened to be brothers. After work and on weekends, there wasn't a lot to do in community, but the fishing in this part of the world is fantastic. So each afternoon after work, we'd pack up and head past the dry salt pans and mud flats and head to the mouth of the river to chuck a line in. There would be locals lining the bank with us, and we'd yarn and joke around waiting for a bite. I remember clearly a number of locals saying to us sternly that we had to pack up and head back home when the flying foxes came out. Each afternoon, hundreds of flying foxes would darken the sky as they left their roost looking for food. We joked and asked if this was because of the crocodiles, who were huge and watched us from the opposite side of the river. At this point, the locals would get serious and say, no, it was because of the hairy men that come out at night. If they see us still fishing when it's their time to hunt, they'll get angry. Now, I'm superstitious and I have a strong cultural belief, but I'm ashamed to say I only took this half seriously. One afternoon, the brothers went to throw a line in, but I decided to stay at the house and get some work done. Kate wasn't feeling well, and so she went to bed early that night. After sunset, I saw the headlights of the troopy pull in next door, so I wandered over to see if they'd caught anything. Both the brothers looked really out of sorts, and when I asked them what was wrong, they looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Now, these were men who had lived, worked, and holidayed in the Cape most of their lives. They were hard-working, honest, and straightforward. It scared me to see them scared. Finally, the younger one told me what they had seen. Standing on the bank fishing, they were hauling in the fish, bite after bite. They hardly noticed when the family next to them packed up and left, saying, "You guys better come too." Before long, the light was dimming, and they realized it was nearly dark, when a strange feeling came over them. Both turned and looked towards the mangrove line about 40 meters away, when they saw 4 or 5 short, hairy figures standing there staring at them. They could make out their face and eyes, and said their hair was long and brownish black. When the brothers didn't move from sheer shock, one took a step towards them. Everything about the encounter gave them a feeling of being told, "Get out, you don't belong here." They threw what they could in the back of the troopy and left some fish on the beach for whatever they had seen. I left them and returned back to my side of the duplex because I could tell that they wanted to get inside and close the door. Kate was still asleep when I went to bed that night. I didn't know what to make of the whole thing, but I was shaken up enough to put a line of salt across my bedroom doorway and windowsill. The next morning, Kate was already in the kitchen making a cuppa. After saying good morning, Kate said, "I'm sorry if I woke you up last night." I said she hadn't and asked why. Kate said she had a terrible dream where she felt something was in her room. She said in her dream she woke up and saw a hairy creature standing at the foot of her bed, just in front of her closed bedroom door. As she was trying to make out what it was, the thing rushed towards her. She woke herself up screaming. I looked at her in amazement. I asked if she had spoken with the boys next door at all. Kate said she hadn't, she'd just gotten up. This scared me to the bone. I called myself a believer before, but this experience made me acutely aware that there are some things out there, old, ancient things that we know very little about.